Back in the day, when I was with the Off Street On Stage repertory company, I used to have a recurring dream that we were in a new town on a new stage with a new play. But I didn't know what the play was. And my fellow actors would push me out onto the stage and say, "You're on." But I didn't know my lines. I didn't even know the show. And I'd be yelling, "Where's the script? Where's the script?" Feeling that embarrassment of having forgotten my lines and my sanity. Today, our wisdom talk is on say their names. And when I hear that phrase, I'm drawn into remembrance that we are, as a human family, collectively feeling like we have lost our lines in the play. What is mine to say? What is mine to do? What part do I have in this human drama unfolding? I can sense that we are all divine beings in bodysuits, playing a part in the play of God. But there is a strange sense that we have forgotten our lines. In African mystical spirituality, the first metaphysical teaching, the name of a person or a thing is the nature of that thing or person. Thus, when we call upon the name of God, whatever that name may be for us, we are invoking the nature of God. And so, in the context of our dialogue today, when we say certain names, it may invoke in us a feeling of negative emotion that, if viewed incorrectly, can create pain and suffering. When we say the names of those who have impacted our lives and our society and the world that we want to create, we invoke their nature. And in nature, everything is for our growth and upliftment. Even the manure or garbage that we might judge as bad serves a purpose. So when we call to our mind's eye the vibration, the feelings, and the emotion, and the meaning of a name that we say, it is important to realize that they are reminding us of the lines of our performance in this evolutionary play that the divine has created. What we might judge as negative emotions may in fact be manure to fertilize the remembrance that nature wastes nothing. Both the weed and the manure serve a purpose. In African spirituality, nothing important is done without the pouring of a libation and honoring the names of those ancestors living and beyond who have contributed to our lives today. And I'd like to share that ritual with you as we remember the names, as we say their names. I'm reminded of those who gave their lives for the civil rights movement. I say the names and pour libation to those who helped America legislate civil rights barely 56 years ago for African Americans. I say their names and I pour libation to Dr. Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Fannie Lou Hamer, Medgar Evers, Emmett Till, and so many others, too numerous to speak. I pour libation. I am reminded and pour libation to those who donated hours of their lives to me as a youth in the form of personal attention and respect, mentoring and teaching, leading me to the evolutionary path that I am passing on today. I say the names and pour libation to Paul Roberts Green, Milton and Leanna Lamb, Shelton and Lucille Becton, Marilyn Lattimore and Isaiah Kitchen. I pour libation. I say the names and pour libation to those other family members and ancestors whose sacred sacrifices serve to further and deepen my own life and the lives of so many others. I say the names and pour libation to Lee Kitchen, Bobby Carter, my sponsors Bob and Sybil Corwin, and hundreds of others who have carried the message of hope, faith, and courage with their lives. I pour libation. I pour libation to those souls whose sacred sacrifice has served to awaken us from an American nightmare. I pour libation to those who have experienced the 60s revolution, the inner city chaos and the war on drugs, the Vietnam War, and a gauntlet of other survival tests. The list of names is longer than we could ever pronounce, and yet we honor them as we say their names in our hearts. We carry the vibration of their resonance in our souls, and we live the essence of human revolution in our hearts, bodies, and souls. We are the human revolutionaries, and I pour libation. I pour libation and say the names of Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, assassinated in 1969. And as I say the names, I'm reminded of the free breakfast they brought to hungry children in Chicago and other cities. I say the names and pour libation to all those across the nation who have shared in awakening us to the struggle for freedom. I pour libation. The Dalai Lama once said, "It is very easy to awaken a sleeping person, but very difficult to awaken one who sleeps on purpose." Most recently, we have awakened from an even deeper sleep. To say the names of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Tamir Rice, and countless others who have sacrificed their lives for this awakening. I pour libation to them and countless others whose sacrifices have served to begin the awakening from the deep sleep, to calm our nerves from the historical, intergenerational, persistent, and personal trauma visited upon us all like a rain that nourishes our divine discontent. I pour libation. In the Christian scriptures in Matthew 5:45, as part of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus, the master teacher, says this about God the Father. He makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. He's reminding us that this reign of injustice affects us all, as does the reign of the awakening. The traumatic experience of forgetting who we really are and that we are all connected to one another reigns upon us all, whether we are part of the problem or part of the solution. For the names that we say today serve to awaken us to our mission, our vision, and our soul's imperative as human evolutionaries. For we cannot go back to sleep. As much as we may long to go back to normal, to that deep slumber, we will not go back. For where we have come from is not a normal human existence. We have come from a world that worked for only a few. We have come from a world of beliefs and separation. We have come from a world that believed in win-lose, that in order for me-go or ego to win, then someone must lose. We know inside of us that the truth is, for me to win, I must love. And we say the names of those who have given their lives for love, and we pour libation honoring them. We know inside that those names of those whom we say today were born from love. Each one of them, like us, were born to love, from love, in love, to evoke the memory that loving is our true nature. And that these old unstable structures that we have allowed to thrive, that have denied the nature of our loving, must crumble in our consciousness if love is to win. We must use the manure of our past suffering to feed that divine imperative that this too must pass. And of course, we all know that God is love, and God always wins. Therefore, love always wins. If we can but say the name of love, and remember that all those whose names we say today and all those we pour libation to today are the remembrance of love, the remembrance of justice, of compassion. They represent the remembrance of our awakening to what it takes for us to become truly human beings to one another. And so I say the holy name of God in this moment. I pour libation to the first ancestor, the Holy Spirit, the one who goes by many names, knowing that the names we say today are God in disguise, God in drag, God in hiding, and God coming out to remind us that even before we were formed in our mother's womb, that God knew our name, knew our nature. And that emotion that you feel tugging at your heartstrings when you say their names, that is love inside of you, reminding you that the curtain has lifted The show has begun, and you are center stage. And your opening line, I am here for love. Namaste.